Well, that's me on my way now, heading out of Duns on my Duns Gifford circuit. I'm heading on up to Longformacus, then across the Lammermoor Hills over to Gifford. Really looking forward to it because I'm sure there's going to be some great sort of countryside that I'm going across with nice open views and great landscapes to see. So this is a really good start, I think, to the day in terms of the weather firstly, so it's absolutely fantastic. The views that I think I'm going to get soon are great. If you just look at that sky, the clouds and the blue sky. Wait a minute, what's this bit of noise I'm hearing here? This is a bit unusual. It's like motorbikes or something like that. Not quite sure what it is. However, it all becomes clear. Duns Motocross. I couldn't help but stop here when I could hear all that noise, and what really fantastic to see the guys going round on the bikes and some of the leaps that they're doing. I must admit, I just didn't expect to see this here. Didn't know it existed, which is basically a problem with me not doing the research, I suppose. But yeah, it looks really good fun. I'm not sure I'd get round to trying it one day. It also looks like a good way to break your bones. As I said earlier, there are some tremendous views here.
Wind farm.
Just as I'm pointing out now.
Wind farm. Wind farm. What a beautiful view.
I do have quite a big journey today, and I've managed to get another night in the Airbnb, so I'm travelling light. I've left all my camping gear. I've got panniers on, carrying some things for today, but it's looking good. I've also got only one battery today, so I'm going to have to hope that despite the hill climbs and everything, that I'm going to manage it. But the bike's not so heavily loaded, so I'm hopeful. I mean, have you ever seen a day like this? It is just so wonderful. I've been really lucky, and the weather's forecast to stay good over the next day or so as well, so it's just a shame I can't actually find another place to camp. I could camp wild, but the trouble is you just can't get your battery charged, and that to me is such a big shame, that despite, you know, being able to use these pedal assist bikes, I just can't get a charge. I've just arrived at Longformacus cemetery just before the village itself, and it's just such a beautiful place. It sits out there in its own isolation, but on a day like today, you know, it just creates such a nice feeling of peacefulness, and you know, it's just wonderful. I actually came through Longformacus about 30 years ago when I walked the Southern Upland Way from Portpatrick over to Coburn's Path. It was an absolutely great experience. In fact, later on I took my mountain bike and I cycled it off-road as well. And I did that in about 4 to 5 days, again trying to stick as much to to the route as possible, but some places it was just impossible to actually take your bike. But I did have a good go at it, and again I had a really good time. But that was winter, and conditions were completely different then. I can so remember this, just down here on the right is a row of cottages where a woman, an old lady, said come in and have a cup of tea. This was when I was walking down here on the Southern Upland Way, and I was with some friends. We were camped out for the whole 10 days of the trip, and it was the first cottage on the left here, and she had made a lovely looking, lovely smelling rice pudding as well, but unfortunately we got a cup of tea and that was it. Heading on now to get into some good countryside, more open countryside where it's long straight roads, but this is where the climbing starts. But there's also some good descents ahead as well. I had a good look on the map, and I've got to say that this is just such an experience to be cycling here across the top of the Lammer Moors on my route to Gifford. There are some heavy clouds though, and I hope it doesn't rain. I don't think it will. There's no forecast, but it is a bit threatening, so I'm going to have to be careful about my journey, so that if the skies do open up, I'm not going to be caught really out in the open. Not if I can help it anyway. Everything opened up for me again when I got my e-bike, the high bike, because getting on a bit my knees, and I've done a lot of cycling before. I've cycled the Hebrides around Scotland, I've cycled Land's End, John O'Groats, and camped out carrying all my stuff with me in the past. So I'm so glad that the e-bike allows me to continue to do that. And as you get older, you realise more and more that the knees give up on you a lot more, and it's a lot harder. However, on a downhill stretch like this, it is just exhilarating to be in these surroundings and just enjoying it all. I've got to be careful though, because despite the problem I've got, with the bike, I've only got one effective brake at the moment. Because I can hear it, the discs, or the disc on the front wheel being rubbed by the actual brake pad, which isn't pleasant, but I'm not able to do anything about it at the moment, which is most unfortunate. It's a bit of a climb out from here, I can see, and one of the things, of course, I was very aware of, I've got this journey to go back along, but I think I'll take a different route back, that's for sure, and I've got a good view on the route that I'm going to take, which I have sort of cycled partly before, or tried to get there, but I'm certainly optimistic that I'll be able to, just at this here, take that turn to the right on my return once I'm coming back up from Gifford.
Gifford 5 1/4. Then Duns. So it's 20 miles. 34 weather. Difficult to say. I should be able to get to Gifford pretty quickly. 5 1/4 miles. Let's go for Gifford then.
I'll have that journey on my way back up this hill. It is good though, I think, as I read earlier, it's about a 5 mile descent really all the way down to Gifford, which is certainly really pleasant going down the way, but coming back is going to be a different story. I think this is such a pretty little town as well. It's very cyclist friendly, and lots of bikers, as you saw basically past coming down the hill there, but as you can see on the left, passing lots of bikes, so there is quite a lot of cycling activity here, and I want to really come back here more so as I can get into the hills and perhaps bring my mountain bike instead of this bike, get around some of those tracks. But to do that, I would really want to stay local here. I'm going to have a bit of a rest here though, I think, and a bite to eat. I know there's a nice bench just outside the church, so that's where, if it's free, I'm going to get my bike there and sit down, just enjoy just relaxing for a little while. And why not? Just going to have a quick check of the map just to make sure I know exactly the best way back from here, so I can take in the best of the countryside and, as far as I can, avoid routes I've already travelled today.
Gifford.
Well, that's me on the climb now, heading out of Gifford, back up the way I came to that T-junction that will take me over to the Whiteadder Reservoir, which is my next objective really. But this is quite a steep climb. I'm sure I noticed on the way down a 16% climb, so it's a bit of a way to the top, but it's one of the benefits of having a pedal assist bike, and one that I've just got, I think, enough power to get me back to Duns. I think that this journey will be circa 40 miles overall, so that should be in the the capacity of the bike. Plus, it's not as heavily loaded because I left the camping gear back in the Airbnb. Once more downhill with the wind in my hair, heading towards the reservoir. You can just see it in the distance. But how gorgeous is that? I mean, to get this sort of cycling is absolutely fantastic. We're just so lucky, or I feel so lucky, to be able to be out amongst this. It is just terrific, and I want to explore more and more the borders, because I've realised now I don't have to go very far to enjoy the countryside. I can even see there's people in on the left here camped, so this is perhaps a place I can come. But I know that there's a lot of fishermen come down here, and they tend to use that spot where we're just passing the tent just now. And yeah, I've got no problem with fishermen. They're great people as well. Share a beer with anybody. Fantastic. But I've got a nice stretch along here as well, still with the sunshine and with the beautiful weather. Don't think I actually mentioned this, but this is actually the Whiteadder Reservoir I'm passing now. To be honest, I defy anyone to find as attractive route as this. It is just so good, so fantastic, the views, and you know, I am lucky. I do like the big skies, and I've had plenty of those today, and the views on the route are just, the landscape is just something else. It's just hard to describe just how rewarding it is to be cycling along. I know it might get a bit boring for anybody watching this to see the roads just basically grey tarmac in front of me. Oh, but this part is just so good. When I come into Cranshaws, there's a lovely little church here. I have been to this bit before, a long time ago, but Cranshaws church is, again, it's something in the most beautiful of locations. If you've never been to Cranshaws Church or cycled this way and you get the opportunity, I would suggest to anyone, please try it. I mean, as you come down to the church, I mean, where would you get such a view as that? It would actually make me want to take up religion, I think. The closer you get to it, it's just so nice. I'll just park up here, and I think I'm going to have a cup of tea, and I'm going to have a shot trying to fix this front brake just to try and centre it better than it is if I can. But firstly, I'm going to have a walk round inside the churchyard, have a look at some of the architecture and some of the elements of stonework, which I think here are just fantastic.
This is surely one of the most beautiful little churches you're ever likely to see. Oh, another fly in my soup, in my coffee. Damn it. Anyway. So, tied the strap closed. Now, well, I've tried to fix a hydraulic brake pad which seems to be rubbing against the disc. I don't know why. Tried to readjust it to centre it, but it's made no difference. I think probably the brake pad has worn through because the bike's now done 2,000 miles almost, and I've never had the pads changed. Black fingers, typical though of having a bike.
The brake pad, it's almost completely worn away, and I didn't have a spare, so I don't have a spare, so apart from getting my hands dirty, I was able to centre it a little bit better, so hopefully that's going to make a difference for on my return trip and might not make it rub so much, at least. But I'm basically just working on one brake now.
I'll soon find out.
I had to use a strap from a pannier to tie the brake up because I had nothing else. So I just took one of the webbing straps off the actual pannier bag and used that as the tie to hold the brake lever in the back position. Now I've got to put it all back together so the way it should be. Countryside has been so varied. I love golden corn and fields that are just the way that they're sitting just now. I really do love the fact that this part of Scotland and the borders, you have such a variety. You know, I came across the Moorfoot Hills, this is the Lammer Moors. In the distance I've been able in the past to see the Cheviots further south, and that is where I want to go. But I want a batteries to take me there, so that, or I actually have to take myself there, but I want batteries that will help me get there, and I need places to be able to charge them up, which is really the thing that's restricting me at the minute. I think I mentioned that in my last video on the first part of this 4-day trip. Don't want to mess with tractors like that. I love when you come across these buildings just out on their own. Oh, I just think they look so good. I would just dearly love to have one, that's for sure. I'm certainly on the homeward stretch now, but yeah, it's been so good, really has. I mean, what more can I say? And it's great also to see other fellow travellers, fellow cyclists out on the route. I just love that as well. It's great. There's a sort of camaraderie that I enjoy, just to acknowledge cyclists and other people, walkers, people of the same ilk who just love the great outdoors. Here's some geese here, so just pulling in to the side just to have a look. Again, the thing about the countryside is you have to stop and enjoy it. I've said that before. You can cycle through it and not actually see a thing, but for me this is the beauty of it. When you see these where the farmer's been out and the fields have been cut. It's just such a wonderful sight. Holy shamoly. Time for a little map check here. There's a bit that I can remember crossing a lovely ford, and I'm just going to make sure as I go into Longformacus that I cross the same part that I've been over before. It's such a gem that was hidden to me before. When I first came across it, it was just so beautiful. So yeah, I just want to make sure that I do come back across that same route. Tomorrow I'm actually heading home, so I'll be going back up roughly towards Heriot, Stow again, Stow, Lauder, Heriot, or Lauder, Stow, Heriot, then across to the granites. And this part is just so beautiful. I mean, if you ever get the chance to cycle here or come to this part of the countryside, please by all means do. I don't think you'll regret it. Yeah, I'm lucky with the weather, and I've been that way for a while now. Often because live on the Pentlands, I can choose the windows to go and be out in the hills in 10 minutes. But cycling's a different story. You have to have all your strategy right with respect to the weather. If you want to get weather like this, which is clearly the most enjoyable way to cycle. And that's me now heading back into Duns after what can only be a great day out. And Duns has been really good to me. I've had everything I need in there, from the Airbnb to just such a nice town to be in, and I've really enjoyed being here.